The Resident Evil Showcase debuted live today, Thursday, January 21st. That's when we're taping this. And we got a first look at Resident Evil 8 gameplay and Resident Evil Reverse, which is like a multiplayer game that kind of had like a comic book aesthetic almost.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Like,
it looked like a mobile game.
I think it looked more like a Switch game.
Yeah, well, they had like the weird, hard like strokes on the characters.
Mm-hmm. Because at first I thought it was just cell shaded, but like, and then I think it also had like the dots, like you know how like old comics had like dots on them, like black dots.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like an interesting thing, and I was talking to some people about it and about how Resident Evil is like definitely has action in it, but it's like I don't expect a big like shooter, like it's just like a multiplayer.
Resident Evil 6?
Oh yeah, that's true. I've played 5 a bit too, and that's pretty action heavy.
Yeah.
But the good ones
it's not like
are
this. It's not like the multiplayer stuff. They used to do Outbreak. Do you remember those games? Those were back on like PS2. And they were similar to this.
Did they remaster those at all?
No, they were like multiplayer games like this.
Oh, interesting.
And there's also, what the heck was it called? They released one with Resident Evil 3 remake.
Mm-hmm.
But like they never do well. I don't know why they keep releasing these things.
There was also that like weird Umbrella game.
Umbrella Chronicles, yeah. I know what you mean.
That was multiplayer.
Didn't one of like the 3DS Resident Evil ones have multiplayer? Was it like the Mercenaries or something?
I don't remember.
Well, Mercenaries is like a game, is like a mode. Like it's not multiplayer. Actually, maybe on the Resident Evil Revelations, you could play online. But like Resident Evil 5, it's just a mode.
Before we get too deep into all of these offshoots and modes and multiplayer games, there were a couple other things they announced. They teased a Netflix show, and a tech demo was dropped on PS5 during the showcase. So in that, you can play as a character called The Maiden, and you can't attack or shoot or anything, but you can like walk around in the world and kind of experience what that next gen Resident Evil will like really look like on your system or your TV or like whatever your gaming setup is for PS5, which is cool for PS5 owners. But like
they did say it's coming out later on other platforms.
Okay. So quickly before we get into the Resident Evil conversation, I just wanted to ask everybody like what their background was with the franchise, because mine's not extensive. So I'll jump in quickly and say what I've played. So I didn't have a PlayStation growing up. So the first time I ever really played Resident Evil was Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube, and I was bad at it. I was very, very bad at it. So I didn't get very far. I did find the merchant that said, "What are you buying? What are you selling?" And I really enjoy that. I reference that a lot. So I've played like 4. I did a little bit of co-op with 5. I never played 6. I've played like the first 45 minutes of 7. And I just played before we started the podcast because I knew we were going to be talking about Resident Evil. I started Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I played that for about 30 minutes. So that's... Oh no, and Code Veronica on the Dreamcast. Actually, that is I played that one actually probably more than any of them because I only had so many games for my Dreamcast. And when you're like a kid and you only have like so many games, you play them. You're just like You can't be like, this is dumb. I'm gonna go buy another $60 game because I have just expendable income. So that's my experience with Resident Evil. What about you guys? Are you deep in the lore?
Kinda. I've only really played the Resident Evil 1 remake because I was like, I've never played a Resident Evil before. Probably should start at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I played that and it was okay. It was like tank controls. And then I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, which I liked a lot actually. But yeah, people keep telling me to play like you should play like Resident Evil 7. That one's really good, but I just haven't got around to it. I do want to play the 3 remake because I was waiting to play that because like I heard it was kind of short, like and to pay $60 for that, I was like, I think
You
I'll
can get it
wait.
for like $15.
Yeah,
It's true. What is that? That's Jill Valentine.
That's
Yes.
Jill. Yeah, and Nemesis. It's Nemesis.
Right.
That's not really a spoiler. It's actually called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So
Yeah. In
But-
very aggressive font.
I believe 7 is on the PlayStation Plus collection, right? I might
Yep.
get around
Yeah.
to that.
And it's also on Game Pass.
yeah, you could get that game for super cheap if you even if you don't have.
Either of those services.
Yeah, you could get it for probably less than $10.
Yep. CDkeys.com, not sponsored, but if you try to buy PC games, you can get them for under $10. All of them. Just make sure that it's for the region that you live in. So
Wait, I didn't get to say what.
John.
Yeah,
so
John
I was gonna
doesn't
say so John. That's exactly what I was saying, guys. I totally wasn't moving on.
So-
So John.
It sounds like I actually have the most experience with the franchise.
All right, let's hear about it.
Well, I didn't have a PlayStation growing up either. So my first experience was the Resident Evil remake on GameCube. And I love that game to death. The tank controls are annoying to get used to, but just like being in the mansion the whole time and exploring that, it just brings back so much nostalgia and memories. There's also Resident Evil 0, which is not that well known, and people don't
I
know.
have that. I just haven't got around to playing it because when I got the 1 remake, it came with the 0.
Yeah, that one's a little different. It's more about like bugs and stuff. That was weird. But my favorite game in the series is Resident Evil 4. That is one of my favorite games like ever. I think it's perfect. We'll talk about this a little later. There are a couple things that I would like to change, but the game is it's an experience. I think that's one of the games that everybody should play at least once in their life. Because it just defined a whole genre of survival horror, and it's just such a good game.
I'm happy to talk about it now.
About the remaster?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you think we need one?
I would love to see one. The game is, it was a 10 back when it came out. It probably doesn't hold up as well. I just played through most of it recently, and I enjoyed it, but the tank controls, they're just so outdated that it's hard to get used to them, especially if you're used to playing shooters, twin stick shooters, and you can't, you have to stop and aim and stop and aim. And then to, turn and turn around. Tank controls they don't hold up.
It's hard to play a game that requires you to run for your life, and you have to go. I'm turning with tank controls on the camera, just so you guys know what's going on.
That is like that's one of the things that gives you that fear in those games.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I might not be able to get out of this situation because I can't control myself.
Oh man.
But that, like, Resident Evil 4 really, I don't know if you guys know this, but like Resident Evil 1, you need ink ribbons to save. And you could run out of ink ribbons, and Resident Evil 4 got rid of those, so that was a big improvement.
Yeah, I always hear Resident Evil 4 is like that's the start of like the modern Resident Evil.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
they
they
got off track with 6. Like, they went more towards action in 5 and 6. And 4 is like blended horror and action.
Yeah, I definitely, from what I've played of it, I really liked it, and I've tried it. I think it's on Game Pass, maybe, And I tried it again, and I was like, ooh, it's like on like modern platform. Like maybe it's gonna be better, and it like still has that old controls. And to be fair, like I didn't like sit and be like, okay, I'm gonna learn tank controls and like really enjoy this game. I kind of was like, oh, it's tank controls. I'm gonna wait. They did 2, they did 3. Like 4 is the most popular one for a lot of people, or it's a crowd favorite for most people.
2 remake is amazing. That's probably my second favorite one. That got rid of tank controls, and it's still a phenomenal experience. They can do 4. They can do 4.
Dude, the beginning of that game, oh my god, it's like a bad action movie, but like it's good.
But that's like, the whole point of it. They're campy,
super campy. Like he pulled a dude out, and this is like not a spoiler because this is the first 10 seconds of the game. He pulls a dude out, and the guy gets like halved. He gets like totally cut in half by like what are those things? Like a big like rolling door. And then Leon's just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just like, no, dude. He doesn't have half of his body. Like what?
Yes, they are not like they don't react like normal people would react in the situation.
Yeah, because people would just be wigging out.
The one thing that I would love about if they redid 4 is there's no annoying monster following you around everywhere. Like, just leave me alone. Let me chill.
What, the dude with the chainsaw?
You could kill him though.
Yeah, but 2 had an annoying monster in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I if they did
why
4,
why would they remove it if they just did that?
But there is none in 4. I'm just saying in 4 there is no, like in 2 and 3 of the originals.
I thought you're saying there is, and you're saying remove it.
No.
I think there's one in Code Veronica too that follows you.
What 4 brought in was a second character. Like you have to protect a character.
Can we spoil who that is?
Yeah, I mean it's a 20-year-old game, right?
It's the president's
daughter.
daughter. Leon has to save the president's daughter. That's hilarious.
That game is super campy too, though. Mm-hmm. I recently watched all of the movies. There's like 10 of them, and they're not good.
No,
but it was really cool to see, like, oh, this is the movie based on Resident Evil 4. This is the movie based on Resident Evil 2. Like it was. I love this series. It's a great series.
I love the room with the lasers in it that cuts people into meat cubes.
Yeah,
that was great.
That's not in any of the games. I don't know why that's in the movie.
The close up on that person's eyeball as it goes like. Sorry. Viewer discretion advised for this podcast.
Yeah, I'm putting that clip in there.
Yeah, I gotta put. Yeah. Put as much disgusting gore over this story as possible. So jumping back to the Resident Evil showcase, unless anybody else had stuff about the 4 remaster, I definitely want one. I want one very badly because I would like to play that game to completion. I think if they made it modern, I would be able to play it. Mm-hmm. Do you feel strongly one way or the other? Do you think it's a classic the way that it is, Cam, and it shouldn't be touched?
I think it'd be cool if they remade it. I don't think it's as necessary as 2 and 3 because before the 2 and 3 remake, the only way you could play those were like the PS1 versions, and you could. I would say they were much less accessible, and that made them playable. Like I feel like people still say like 4 is like an amazing game just like on its own. So like
they port it to everything.
Would just be extra. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I also think there's a mod on PC where you can change the controls.
That is really like if they want to just re-release it, with the 4K version and take out tank controls, I'd be fine with that too.
That's all they need.
But isn't it kind of wait? You mean just like up the resolution?
Yeah, just up the resolution,
or up the textures to match.
Yeah, because I hear people like complain about like, oh, they upped the resolution, but the textures are like crappy because it's a
Yeah, you got to
PS2 game.
You can't just leave the textures alone. That never works.
I mean, they could just, I don't know. How hard is it to just plop it into the Resident Evil 2 and 3 engine?
What? How hard is it to build a game from the ground up in an existing engine? Hard. It's hard to build a game from scratch in an existing
They basically made a new game and said, okay, let's call it Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. That's a brand new game.
Yeah.
My question though is are 2 and 3 in the 7 engine just from a third person perspective?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know, but I like the main series now is going first person, right? Because 8 is first person as well. It's
allegedly more immersive that way.
I like how they do the offshoot remakes because it's like the old school feel of Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I get it. Like, it's supposed to be more immersive, but I also just like kind of like when I'm not playing like a first person shooter to have a third person perspective. Like you wouldn't categorize it as like an adventure game, but you know what I mean. I like to
it's not even like a third person shooter. It's like what do they call it? They call it something else. Like it's not fully third person. It's like over the shoulder or something.
Yeah. Over the shoulder. So yeah, jumping back to that was what we think about Forum Remaster, which was not announced in the story that we're talking about, but it's something that we want. We sort of talked about the multiplayer. I just want to touch on it one more time in saying that it's bad, and I don't think it's going to be supported for a long time, and will eventually become defunct.
Yep.
And no one will play it. I watched the whole thing, but I forget this Netflix tease. Do you remember it, John?
I don't know. It was in that IGN article. I think it has to do. It's like an anime show. It's not like a live action.
Is it CG or
anime? I think it's CG. I think it's CG.
Maybe they did like a short trailer for it, but I kind of don't remember it.
I don't know. I skimmed it because I watched it right before we started recording. Yeah. I was really just skimming to see the 8 gameplay, see if there's any other big announcements and stuff.
The only thing I'd have to say about the Netflix show is that I don't love the movies. And video game adaptations are rarely good.
Apparently the animated ones are good though. The animated Resident Evil shows or movies are supposed to be pretty good.
Maybe they can just do more with like a completely, fresh canvas and not having to like build sets and have people act like zombies are coming after them.
Yeah.
Like, get a little bit more leeway with that.
The movies are definitely campy too. Like, woof. I watched all 8 or 9 of them. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Are there really that many?
There's a lot. I did not realize there were that many. But we're like,
is Mila Jovovich in all of them?
She's in all of them. She's in all of them.
Wow. Well, I guess that's where she's been.
Now she's in Monster Hunter, who is the same creators as Resident Evil.
Right, and that movie also is going to be
maybe it's her.
A pile of monster dung. Yeah, she's the one that's ruining it. I don't think it's her. Did you see the trailer or the tease for the show, Camilo?
I think I skimmed over it. I didn't get a chance to look at it.
I mean, this is a video game podcast, not a TV show podcast.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to watch TV shows, go for it. We don't care, obviously.
Look for the show pack.
Yeah. We're not the show pack. I'll show you my 6-pack, but we're not the show pack. Then lastly, the coolest thing I think that got announced was that the demo of sorts was dropped onto PS5 while it was happening, and you can play as the Maiden. I actually will probably download this
Me
and
too.
give it a shot.
Yeah, I'll try it out.
We didn't have enough time between when that thing aired and when we filmed this thing to actually play it, so we don't have first impressions or anything for you. Or do we? No, we don't. But that looks super cool. Like, I'm excited to get into that world. Like, it's there's werewolves, there's vampires, there's like, it's like very gothic. Like, it's a big change in tone from just being chased by zombies. And I think Resident Evil really needed that like injection of like, you know what, we don't have to just do zombies, we can just make scary games. And like, that's cool to me.
Well, you got a release date too, right? May 7th.
Was it May 7th or it was in May.
Dude, that's so soon.
But like Resident Evil, it wasn't always just like, there's always other creatures. Like in the first one, there's a giant snake, there's sharks, there's scorpions, there's weird tyrant guys. So it's like
biomutants.
They could really just they'd be like, oh yeah, that's the X virus, you know, that's the T virus, that's the Los Plagas or whatever the heck they call it.
Oh, and 5.
Yeah. So
or no, 4.
4, I think it's Los Plagas, but I think that one continues through 5.
It's the plague.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, guys. Oh, no. We're living Resident Evil right now.
I do sometimes feel like we're in like the beginning of like a post-apocalyptic movie.
Oh, let's hope not. On that note, do you guys have any final thoughts on Resident Evil, the movies, the games, the franchise, the remasters, number 8? What are your final thoughts in general?
Why does Chris always look different in every game?
I don't know. I thought the new Leon looked kind of different, too. They showed him in, like, a suit. Oh, that was the TV show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I do remember the clip from the TV show. Yeah, they had Leon, and they were like, he's looking sharp in a suit. And I'm like, kinda. But he looked a little bit different. And I think he looks different in 2 Remaster than he does in 4.
Well, he's supposed to be younger in 2.
Yeah, also in 2 Remaster, they both look like they're pop stars. Like, they're just like, they're like very pretty-ish. Yeah. And I'm like, isn't this like a gritty horror game? And like the 2 main characters are just like very pretty and handsome. And I just didn't quite. I'm like,
they're rookie cops.
You're a rookie cop. Yes, Lieutenant. Get out there, rookie. Anyways, it's a good game. Final thoughts. Going once, going twice.
It's
ending
a series
the podcast.
I hope to get into more.
Yeah, I want to play at least one of them to completion, but I never end up doing it.
Just two is short. 2 is short.
Yeah,
I'll do 2.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Do I have to beat both campaigns, or can I just do Leon?
No, I just did 1.
You could do Leon, and then you could do the
Claire.
But you do like the B side or whatever.
Is it hard like Celeste when you do the B side?
No, it's just different. But like if you do Leon's story and then you just do Claire's story, it's the same exact game pretty much, just a few different things. But if you do like the I think it's B, it's different.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we hope to have informed all you Resident Evil fans out there.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the other stories this week and let us know how you felt about this story down in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you all next time.